Welcome, everyone, to the Retail Corner podcast. We're very excited today. We have Kim Berknov. He has over 20 years working with early stage business to business software and technology companies in Northern Europe. He strategizes in corporate finance and sells in omni-channel. Kim has served as CEO of Buy Communications in the UK. He's also been Executive Vice President and Managing Director of Aldata Solution OI in Finland and the UK. And he's also been Managing Director of GE Capital IT Solutions in the UK. He's currently serving as the Executive Chairman of DETEGO Limited in the UK. Kim, we're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for making a little bit of time for us on your busy schedule. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm excited.
Awesome. No, thank you. It's our pleasure to have somebody of your level of experience with us. And I'm sure for all of our audience, it's very interesting to hear from somebody from your background. So I wanted to talk to you about, obviously, the new normal. There's so many different things that are happening in the new normal. But I think one of the primary keys is how important, more than ever, it is to make sure that retailers don't miss a single sale, right? And I think that brings up the topic that's kind of been the endless quest that retailers have always had, is how do we get to 100% inventory control across our entire chain, right? And I know RFID has been out there for many, many years, right? But before we dwell into the DETEGO and what you guys do, I wanted to see if you can share with us what exactly is RFID? What does it mean to somebody that doesn't know, right? They've heard the term, everybody knows the term, but what exactly does it mean?
RFID really means that you are individualizing every single article that a retailer holds throughout the supply chain, all the way from where you manufacture it, to the distribution centers, to the trucks that takes it out to the stores, to the omni-channel, to the e-commerce. You know exactly where every single item is. You have given them a single identification number with which you can track every single item real time throughout the supply chain. That is unique.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. And I know it's been out there. So what changes have happened with RFID that have increased the level of accuracy that it offers today versus, 5, 10 years ago?
I think that the whole landscape of retail has changed so dramatically over the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, but has obviously been accelerated due to COVID, where instant inventory knowledge means everything for the retailer. And if you want to survive in an omni-channel environment without overstocking, you need to know where every single piece of a garment or retail or equipment is throughout your value chain. We know from apparel retail that the inventory accuracy in the shops are on average between 60 to 70% on an item level. That means if a customer comes into any of these stores or provide an e-commerce order for a store for click and collect or curbside, there's only 30 to 40% chance that that article will not be available. That means retailers are losing sales. And that is what they now are discovering, that they cannot exist with that level of information. And the only way to help them to survive in that has been overstocking in order to have the articles available, which has a horrible effect on the working capital and the profitability of the retailers. So in order to move forward, they need to think differently along the different supply chains that they're having and throughout the e-commerce landscape.
No, you're absolutely right, right? Instead of just plunging the stores with additional merchandise and exposing themselves to theft and having the wrong inventory, it's all about having the right inventory at the right time, at the right place for the right customer. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
you go out of business. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. And talking about RFD and its capabilities, I know a lot of companies, right? They do yearly cycle counts, bi-yearly, quarterly. So many different companies are out there that offer those services, right? But in comparison to RFID, from what I've seen in a lot of the videos that you guys have shown me, I see a very drastic difference in the amount of labor that goes into it. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, like the comparison between what's out there versus what RFID brings to the table today?
Yeah, absolutely. So typically we see that when you implement RFID, you see a revenue increase simply because you start to carry the right inventory on the shop floor for the customers. So you have them real-time updated on shop floor availability against a planogram for what should be on the shop floor.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you inventory accuracy that is in the high 90%, 98, 99%.
Wow.
And an on-shop floor availability around 98% is what we see. So by having that and having that almost automatically replenished to the sales floor with indicators for the staff in the store and the associates in the stores, that makes them far more productive. That means that we typically see a labor cost reduction in the stores when we remove all these hurdles that the stores are going through by making manual inventory counts and finding and searching for products. We typically see a labor cost reduction of around 10%. No, so it's a pretty powerful cocktail of both getting a revenue increase and getting a labor cost saving at the same time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's only to your point. I mean, that comes on the operational perspective, right? And then in addition to that, what I saw was when they actually go through doing the cycle counts, you don't have to hire external companies anymore, right? If you install RFID within your company, you can have your own resources do it at literally a quarter of the time. I mean, something that takes almost an entire day, about 6 to 8 hours worth of effort. I think what I was seeing, it only takes about 15 to 45 minutes tops to do an entire store. I mean, that in itself, it's an amount of savings. I mean, I remember I used to do cycle counts at a company I used to work for, and we were talking about, over 100K just in rental of the equipment itself. Plus, then you had to pay for the resources and everything to actually execute the inventory. So, I mean, this is amazing, really, really amazing.
Yeah, that's typically what we see as well when we compare what companies are paying for getting a third party in to do an inventory check, as you said, on a quarterly, half-year basis or annual basis. That cost basically pays for the whole RFID implementation. And then you have a ton of additional benefits on top of it.
Yeah.
So
your ROI is within the first 6 months if you do quarterly.
Absolutely. 3 to 6 months. I mean, absolutely.
Wow, that's amazing. And talking about that, right, I'm sure for a lot of people that are listening out there, what does it look like to do an implementation in RFID, but at least for the pilot store, right? What time frame am I looking at? How complex? What additional expenses am I going to have to incur?
It's actually a pretty straightforward thing to do. What I would encourage companies to do is to assemble a project team that can do it with resources from different groups. So some from e-commerce, some from the retail estate, some from supply chain, and with good retail ops. And then get together and select a couple of pilot stores where they will go in and not to test the technology, but to test the business case for that particular retailer. The technology is proven. It's more about process management, figuring out how do we optimize processes with RFID.
Okay.
But it can be done within 2 to 4 weeks. We typically can set up a pilot in 2 to 4 weeks when we have the retailer that are engaged with the right people.
Wow, 2 to 4 weeks. No, that's great. That's a really, really good timeline. And of course, like any technology out there, right, nothing is perfect. So what do you see as the challenges for RFID and still the potential of growth that it has into the future?
I would say there's pretty limited issues around RFID. It can be deployed very fast. It is incredibly effective, but it needs to be managed. So like every other technology that is being brought in, you need to make change management. You need to educate your people to use it. You need to establish processes of how to use the data. And you need to establish some smart replenishment processes that helps you to accelerate the experience for both customers and for the store associates in the stores. But it's not a limiting technology, I would say now, where we have Android and iOS phones. it's very easy to deploy. You send the application out via an MDF solution or MDM solution, and it runs immediately. So we don't have the complexity that we saw 4 to 5 years ago. It's all based in the cloud, and execution and implementation is pretty straightforward.
Nice. So being that it's a web-based in the cloud, right, application, I'm assuming it works with Android, iOS. I mean, the device doesn't really matter, or does the device do partake in a specific device that you have to utilize in order to get the best usage out of it?
No, I think the uniqueness of, I can only speak for our solution, but we are agnostic to all hardware and software. So it's a plug and play that will work with the best of breed hardware. Different retailers has different relationships with hardware and software providers. So it's important to be agnostic in their universe and basically give them the best of breed in order to obtain the strategic savings and revenue generating optimization they can get throughout the value chain.
Great. No, I really, really like that, because again, right, those obviously are very important questions, because I know it's a pain when you already invested so much money as a retailer in a particular hardware, right, to have to change everything for software. So that's amazing that you guys are agnostic. I mean, that really is a game changer versus a lot of other companies that they have a specific hardware supplier that you have to go with, you know.
Without any doubt. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I like it. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to RFID and the advantages, one of the things I saw that was really nice was how it can not just be utilized from a standpoint of doing cycle counts in the floor of your store, but when it comes to the shoe department, right? I started my career in retail in shoes. I used to take them out to the customers and all that good stuff. And so that's why I held it really close and dear when I saw that video. But I was amazed how RFID gives you the ability to go through that stock room, and it literally has a sensor that tells you when you're getting close to those shoes that the customer wants. I mean, the level of efficiency that brings to the table, it's amazing. And I'm sure that can be utilized in the warehouse, in many other places, right?
No, absolutely. And we typically see that as well. We have search functions within the RFID solution that sits on the Android or the iOS device that will help us to find the item in the retail store faster. That means a lot for temporary workers that don't necessarily know where the goods are. It also helps for e-commerce orders. We can see how e-commerce orders are booming up right now, either pick up in stores or curbside. So we actually need store associates that can take the handheld and find the item very fast and efficient.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, to your point, come holidays time, right now with the COVID, you know, pick up from store, curbside pickup, it facilitates the process. And so much before, it used to be on, you know, pushing your employees about, hey, learn about your store, learn about your products, right? But now you're removing that necessity or that factor from the person, which is amazing.
That's very true. Yeah.
No, I like it. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, Kim, I always like to give it to all of the people that we interview in the podcast. I want to leave it open for you, you know, any piece of advice you want to give to all the entrepreneurs, all the retailers, all the professionals that are going through harsh times and, you know, getting furloughed, unfortunately, with the way the economy is. What would be your best piece of advice from all of your years of expertise and knowledge to all of the folks listening out there?
The fast speed that retail is changing right now, it has become paramount that they assemble the best people to figure out how they can optimize and make their supply chain transparent and agile. And only by implementing RFID throughout the supply chain, they will get that visibility and transparency and agility that will allow them to work in a true e-commerce environment, because e-commerce is also accelerating faster than ever, and shops will start to have a different function. But in order to rely on the shops, you need to have accurate inventory so you can use them as shipping hubs, or you can do curbside click and collect. But you also need to have the right staff in the stores that can act very fast and efficient. So I would say get together, identify your key KPIs, invite an RFID service provider or solution provider in to share best practices, figure out how you can get started with a pilot, and try to optimize the part of the supply chain that is most important for you as a specific retailer right now in the current environment.
Absolutely. Kim, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing all this information with us. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and we wish you guys the best. We hope to have you guys back maybe 6 months or so, and you can tell us how things are progressing, how the company's growing, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Look forward to speak to you again soon.
If you wish to have a conversation with us, then email us at retailcorner@proxima360.com or visit our website at theretailcorner.proxima360.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe and see you next time.